All right, welcome in everybody to another client success interview here. I'm lucky enough to be joined with our clients Jon and Angela from Canine Revolution, and we got quite a cool interview in store here for you guys because they did something pretty incredible in their first calendar month, actually working with us, really the first 30 days. And so I don't want to tell your story. I want you guys to tell that, and we'll talk a little bit more about our experience working together and all that cool stuff. But why don't you guys just kind of kick it off? Tell everyone a little bit about you and like who you guys are.
Go ahead.
So I've been training dogs for some time now. I started Canine Revolution in late 2000. Back then, I was super happy to be training dogs in home for $700 at a time. Right,
Mhm.
not $700 a session, but more so like the full training of their dogs in their home for $700. And I thought that was amazing because ultimately I didn't think that I would ever pay anything like that for somebody else to train my dog. So kind of that's the way that I was thinking about it. It has turned into something amazing. Not only do we have our own facility at this point, but we also employ an incredible staff. We started the prison program down at the federal prison in Inglewood, the FIDO's Federal Institution Dog Obedience School, with the same program where we're teaching the inmates how to do what we do in order for them to have a marketable skill when they get out, which is super cool. And it's ebbed and flowed. We've gone from employing just a couple trainers to employing as many as seven and having 30 dogs at a time to having it flow back to two or three trainers, and now we have found kind of our niche. And We have three different programs, and we train anywhere from 25 to now 40 dogs a month. And we're doing very, very well, and we can't thank you enough for coming along this ride with us.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. And we're going to get into in a little bit here, like your exact story and what it's been like since you guys, got plugged in with us and all that really cool stuff. But something that I find really cool about both of you guys is like you have unique experiences and all of this experience leading up to running this business. And Angela, even for you, do you mind sharing a little bit about you and like what you were doing before this? Because you were able to kind of hop right in and with your experience in sales, really start like crushing right away. So why don't you
Yeah.
tell everyone a little bit about you and just like who you are?
So I almost didn't date my husband because I had such a bad dog who had failed out of another board and train program. Really, I failed, but nobody trained me. But we were actually asked not to come back to the PetSmart classes because my dog was that bad. And so
Okay.
he put dog trainer on his profile. And I'm like, yeah, this isn't going to work, but hey, whatever. So, yeah. So I was actually a paying customer. I did get the date the trainer discount, but not near deep enough. I
Wow.
not near
Still got to
deep
pay
enough
something.
discount.
You got to pay something.
Um, and so it was amazing. Like the first time I got a video from our staff, like my dog was totally different on leash, right? Within 24 hours of being in the program. So I got the experience as a customer first, which was really a really good experience for me and like made me believe in what we do. And so immediately when I figured out he was a keeper, started to learn how to dog train. And because I saw the significant impact it had on my dog's life, my life, animal control was no longer at my house on a regular basis. I didn't know them by name anymore. And so I really just tried to learn what he did. But I came from 20 years of construction and sales and knew nothing about training dogs. I did everything wrong with my dog. Allows me to give that empathy to our clients because they're like, oh, well, the dog sleeps in my bed and I don't have a kennel and right. Like, yeah, we just let the dog bark at every leaf. It's totally fine, right? I
Yeah,
was that person. So lots of empathy for some of our clients because we just don't know. As general people, we just don't know. And it was transformative of my dog's life and mine. And so
that's
I
awesome.
wanted to be a part of it.
That's
The
cool. Yeah,
really
and
cool
it's
thing
funny you say
about
that.
Angela is when we even started talking about her leaving her 20-year corporate career and coming and being part of what we do, she didn't take it lightly. She jumped in with both feet. She learned, she listened, she was pliable. She has become an incredible dog trainer. And you see her with the puppies and see her with the dogs that resonate heavily with her high energy. We joke that she's got princess energy, right? The Disney princess energy. They love her. Like in the middle of our group classes, she will walk in and all of the dogs are like, "Oh my God."
Like a
It's
They're
celebrity
not
just
crazy.
allowed
walked
in
in.
some.
And then of course I have to like get everybody under control again. I'm like, ah, da, da, and everybody's like, okay, yes, sir. Yeah. It's funny. And this last class, she walked in, and of course all the dogs, like all their hair stands on end. And she was joking. We were kind of at a breaking point in class to let, because it was warm, we were letting the dogs get some water and kind of rest. And she goes, "Can I disrupt class for a second?" And I'm like, I had no idea what she was doing. I said, "Sure." She called one of the dogs to her, and the dog like bolted through everybody.
It was a good off
Right?
tweet.
Yes, it was, but right through. It was our off lead advanced class, and right through all of the other dogs, all of the other people. Like it would run through a wall for her. It was hilarious. Came up, sat
That's
right in
funny.
front of her, and she released it back to the owner. Went right back to the owner. It was perfect. But
Yeah, speaks to
um,
how well the training is going, you know?
yes.
Yeah.
Another aspect of Angie is when technically, she owns the company with me at this point, right? And so when she kind of took over in that ownership role, not just as a trainer with our team, she really integrated herself and respected our team at a level that I didn't see. And not that I didn't expect that of her because of who she is, but like the level at which she has taken on ownership role, marketing, like every aspect of
I
her
found Kevin.
company is
Yeah. Off of an
has
ad.
been super impressive.
Yeah,
Yeah, I couldn't be more proud of the way that she has handled this whole thing. And
absolutely.
because like I said, our team has been with me forever. And it's really important for me to show them that respect, and also integrate everybody in like in a very succinct and symbiotic way. And
Yeah.
it has become that. So it's really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah. And something that I always love about working with couples is there's that saying that people always love to say in business that no one's ever going to care about your business as much as you do. But I always
Mhm.
think except for the caveat of like, except for your spouse, right? Because you guys are both working towards like the same common goal. And I always see like whenever we work with like a husband and wife combo tends to go really well because I think the husband and wife teams that work together, they know that they can work together because I have met people who are like, my husband needs to do his own thing or I need to go do my own thing. Like we can't be in the same room working together.
Yeah.
And, but I think that, having two sets of hands, two people working towards the same common goal, John, like you're talking about, like obviously you brought all of this training knowledge to the equation here. And Angie, with your experience in just like corporate America, sales, marketing, all that stuff, you guys both are able to like own different parts of the business extremely well. And I think that's exactly what is allowing you guys to do what you're doing right now, which obviously we'll get into in a little bit. But Angie, do you mind talking a little bit about like your experience like in sales and stuff like that? Because I think a lot of times dog trainers are really good at training, but they don't necessarily focus on all these other things that both you guys are tackling right now with, which is like marketing and sales and stuff like that. So do you mind just
Well,
talking about your experience with that?
yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter how good of a dog trainer we are. If people don't know who we are and we're not having conversations, they're never going to sign up with us. And so I have done all sorts of sales, including cold calls, including door knocking, lots and lots of rejection. I read a lot of books on sales. I talk about them regularly in our coaching calls because even with 20 plus years experience in sales, it's good to be reminded that like if I'm being rejected, it's not personal.
Mhm.
If I'm, coming up against objections, it's not personal.
Right.
So, and how to deal with those effectively. I would say for us, the sales portion it's the biggest part because again,
Mhm.
we have no dogs to train if we have no sales. So we don't get to do what we love if we are not answering the phone, if we are not getting back to clients. We've had multiple clients that we have closed because we responded. Literally, we just answered our phone. And we had one that signed with us because she's planning a wedding right now. And she's like, I wish anybody in the wedding world would respond as fast as you guys
Yeah.
did and were as informative as you guys are. I think she brought her dog into us like the next day.
Yeah. Yeah, I always think it's like attendance. It's like attendance in college. It's like it's such part of your grade is to like show up to class. And this is the
Yeah.
same thing. It's like just answer your phone when it rings, and that's easy in theory, but when it comes to execution, can understand sometimes when people don't do it. It's like you kind of get sick of the phone ringing, or is this person not going to buy from me, or I'm in the middle of eating dinner or something like that. But I just think that's where like the discipline comes in, where it's like you just need to do it regardless of how you're feeling in that moment.
Well, and like we equate everything to dogs, like literally our bills. How many dogs do we need to sell in order to pay the mortgage, right? So everything that we do, we equate to sales, and it kind of keeps it on the forefront of John is working towards a new Corvette for me, which is kind of a weird
Oh, let's
statement,
go.
but
Her dream car.
he's the
That's
obsessive one
awesome.
about the Corvette. And so like we have a goal. We have like if we sell this many and hit this number, like we're gonna go do it. So
That's awesome.
yeah. And so we by equating it everything to our sales, the quantity of dogs, then it's a little less overwhelming, and B, it's like, oh, I'm halfway to mortgage payment or whatever the case is. And
Yeah.
it encourages us to answer the phone a little bit more,
Right.
even
Yeah.
during that time.
Really, really funny thing is Angie says regularly that together we make a good business owner
Yeah.
because she has skills that I definitely don't have, and I have skills that she doesn't have. Right?
Yeah.
We both have the sales background. I've been in sales like, all my life too. I've been in the oil business. I've been a financial advisor, financial planner, estate planner. But really, when you start to create relationships over the phone with clients, it doesn't matter what you're selling. It's that
Mhm.
relationship. And if you don't know how to create that relationship, like you're not going to sell to them. It's not about the technical side of our training program. It's about the experience. It's
That's
about
right.
us being able to help them. And if we're able to portray that over the phone and let them know that we're with you for the long haul, we have vested interest in your success because we're a guaranteed program. We're going to be able to eliminate all of these behaviors because we've seen them all. Through the thousands upon thousands of dogs that we've trained, we've seen literally everything.
Right.
We bring dogs in from all over the country. And so, but to give them that peace of mind, it's kind of seamless. So, yes, it's funny. Our first meeting, you're like, okay, first thing, answer the phone. We're like, okay, we can do that, right?
We
That's
just wanted to ring.
right.
Yeah.
Ring, Kevin.
Exactly. Put
Yeah.
us in front of more people and we're going to take off, right? And
Yeah.
and we did.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because, like, again, I think what that speaks to is all of the experience that you guys have. There's certain people that need to be convinced of that. They think like, oh, it'll go to the voicemail, the automation will send out some sort of like letter that has some pricing on it, and then if people are interested, they'll buy. And you've totally turned your services into a commodity at that point, and it's like people are making emotional purchasing decisions here. And John, I think you're exactly right, where it's like sales to me is always going to be about being relational over transactional, you know? But to you guys, I think that's really fascinating is like, Angie, you were saying this before, like I've done like door to door sales and, like, knocking on people's doors or cold calling and stuff like that. And I think a lot of times people don't realize like all of the opportunity that exists with Google ads in particular, because you have people that already know that they need your service and they're picking up their phone and they're calling you. And so as long as you can answer that call and like build all that trust and rapport, it's not like you're grabbing a list of like, hey, who are, dog owners in the Denver market and let me just call them and see if they want training. It's like you have people that already need your service. It's just a matter of capitalizing on that, you know?
Well, and I think people need to get over that this is not cold calling. Like, even if you're returning a call, this is a warm lead. And like these
Right.
people are interested and have a need. Now you just need to see if it's a good fit. And it's not a, used car salesman type of
Yeah.
sale. It's a consultative, are we what you're looking for?
Right.
Is my training style is your dog behavior something I can fix? Which for us the answer is yes. And then is our style and what we provide what you're looking for? And so if
Right.
we get to that while building the relationship, we get to yes a lot faster because and it's
Yeah.
the nerves should be way down during that process because they're interested already.
Right.
Exactly, and I've had people that are like, and again, they just haven't put in all the reps yet, like you guys have in different careers and stuff like that, and they're like fearful to call their leads, and they'll say something like, "I just don't want to annoy them." I'm like, "Trust me, you're not annoying. They called you, or they submitted a form looking to get in touch with you." You know?
No, their dog is annoying them.
Yeah, exactly.
And
That's
it's funny
exactly right.
that you say that because we've even gone to our church and talked to them about the fact that there's 3.5 million dogs in Colorado. There's more dogs than there are children under 18 years of age. And if kids can create strife in a marriage, of course, dogs can do the same, right?
Right.
So we actually have presented to our church for us to be able to, for free, have a 6-week course
Wow.
where we're teaching people and teaching their dogs right alongside us for 6 weeks for free in order to be able to eliminate the stresses that a poorly behaved dog can create, right? So
Wow.
when people call us, our first question is, how can we help you? Right? Because they're going to spew everything that's going on. And normally they start with, my dog is a really good dog,
But
but,
Yeah.
right? And then they go into, it's biting or it's nipping or it's jumping or it's peeing or, I can't take it on a walk or I'm not getting any sleep because the dog is howling at night or my neighbors are calling or animal control's here, Angie, or any of these things, right? And they're super excited to talk about their dog. And if you just kind of engage with that and ask them appropriate questions for what they're going through, they're giving you a roadmap as to how to help them. And now it's just a matter of, are we the right program for you, and price, right?
Right.
And so those are really the only roadblocks. If they're looking for something super special, like, you know, super technical service dog style training, no, we're going to lead them in the right direction for that, but that's not us, right? If they're looking for aggression elimination or they're looking for puppy, basic puppy behaviors and manners, if they're looking for a lifelong process where we're with them the whole time, yes, those are right in our wheelhouse. That's exactly what we do. We get people all the time that reach out and they're nervous about having their dog go to a program because they've never spent a day away from their dog. Well, that's right in our wheelhouse too. We send them videos every single day, right? We want them to see that their baby is happy, healthy, and strong. We also want them to see that they're making progress through the program, and we want to educate them right along the way. So it's seamless. And it's hilarious. Sometimes people will like fall over themselves to get scheduled. They're like, okay, today's Wednesday. I have a vet appointment on Friday. Can I get him in before the vet appointment? It's like, that's 24 hours from now. What are you talking about? And so
but the
we,
answer is yes.
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
let's make that happen, right?
Yeah.
So it's funny when you create that relationship and you create that understanding for them and that peace of mind that we can help them eliminate the problem that they're reaching out for. Sometimes at midnight, not we don't answer that call, but the leads come in at that time.
Mm.
Yeah, then they're super excited and relieved for us to be able to assist them, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's not like it's definitely not like doing door-to-door roofing sales
No.
or
No, no.
vacuum cleaner. I'll date myself a little bit.
Which thank
That'd be
goodness,
no.
thank goodness it doesn't need to be like that.
Yeah.
It's amazing that something like this exists where you can just get your phone ringing. But to me, it's all relative to someone who hasn't experienced those other ways of doing business and generating and drumming up business for your company that way of just cold outreach. You look at this and go like, man, this is hard. But for all the people I've ever worked with who have done door knocking or just gotten a list of leads and cold called and gotten rejected and stuff, they get the joke with it where they go like, oh, these people are calling me. Yeah, as long as the phone's ringing, I'm good. I can close them.
Yeah. It's been a game changer and allowed us to really work on additional parts of our business because our
Yeah.
phone is ringing and we're not constantly just trying to drum up business or following up on unqualified leads, because the
Right.
source we had before was a lot of tire kickers. And
Right.
while this isn't foolproof of tire kickers, it's a lot more qualified, a lot more interest going into it rather than
Exactly.
kind of those cold call type of lists.
Yeah, and I'd love to talk about that a little bit. So we don't need to name names or name specific platforms or anything like that, but you guys were working with like a platform that's like a shared lead source, right? And I know there's a lot of dog trainers that go that route and are like purchasing credits and stuff like that. And that was the main driver of your business previously, that and like word of mouth and stuff like that. Can you guys talk a little bit about that and just kind of like what that was like versus like, yeah, kind of like what it's looking like now, and just going a little bit further into like quality of lead, just different types of conversations, getting in touch with people, all that stuff.
Sure. So over the years, I've used a number of different lead sources, everything from
You said don't name names.
don't name names at
Don't-
all.
You can. I'm doing it. If you guys want to, it's totally fine with
Yeah,
me.
no, it's okay.
Yeah.
So I've used Nextdoor, I've used Thumbtack, I've used Bark.com. So with Nextdoor, I never got anything out of it.
We get more out of it now because I'm in a bunch of networking things.
Yeah,
So
that like it never worked for me before.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't have the beautiful red hair and the personality, right? I'm kind of gruff and mean. So anyway, we used Thumbtack for a long time, and it was a good generator of leads. And they changed their platform, so we got away from that, got into Bark, and it ebbs and flows very heavily. And so my whole thing with Angie coming over was I know that we have a really solid product. We have the backing, we have the facilities, we have the training, we have the resources, we have the reviews, we have the support of our community. Everything is in line. If we could just get in front of more people, I know that it would really take off again. Because as we mentioned, when canine COVID hit, we were doing 30 dogs at a time. We were employing 7 people. And then COVID hits, all of a sudden, boom, we're almost out of business to a certain point.
Right.
And now we build back up again. And I know that by us only having one really solid resource for leads was not the proper way for us to go. And so she has used networking events. She's done all different kinds of things in order to put our name out in front of more people, but nothing has even come anywhere close to what you guys have done for us, which we'll talk about the actual numbers of it. But what you guys have done for us blows everything else out of the water, and it seems very consistent. So
well, and kind of to go back to that, like I saw when I came on full time and I had been monitoring our lead sources not well. That was one of the things that drove me towards you directly was Alfred. But so is to get to where we can make business decisions not based on emotion, but based on figures and facts. But based on some analysis and a lot of emotion, I saw our primary lead source going a different direction. I saw their marketing changing towards building dog trainer websites and doing other things. And I'm like, well, whoa, if you're spending all your money on doing this, then you're not getting us as many leads or as qualified leads anymore. I was like, this is not, that's not what we need, right? Like
Right.
and we need something different. And it was a really good, I think it was a 10 p.m. Instagram post that you and I connected on, which I don't know if I was talking to a robot or
No, that was
somebody.
me.
Was
That
that
was
you?
legitimately me. Yeah.
Okay, so you should sleep more. You have a young person in your life. You should sleep more. But I just knew that I needed to find us a way to get in front of people that were Googling. And one of the things that I've learned through years and years of business is, well, yes, there's classes, there's courses. You can do your own Google ads. Can you do it right? Can you
Right.
track it? Like there are very specific things that, while yes, I could figure it out and I could do it, or I could get from A to Z in a quarter of the time by hiring the right people to do it. And that's where you came in was,
Yeah.
you know, like, hey, here's what we need. And we were off and running, I think, in like 5 or 6 days.
That's
and you guys
awesome.
listened to us. That was the big thing for us. We when we got into this and we started talking about it, and you had the guarantees of 10 times ROI over 90 days and all of this stuff. I'm like, okay, let's see how this goes. And then you guys presented us with some ads. We came back to you immediately and said, hey, this is not really like what we do. This is not exactly how we sit. And you immediately heard us, made the changes, and
We're off and running.
it took off. And
Yeah.
to let you know, once we analyzed our first month, we did 31 in 1
Insane.
month. So it wasn't 90 days, it was 1 month, and we did 31 times our investment
Yeah.
in that 90 days. We had a 6-month goal of doing 100,000 in sales with you in a month. Yeah, and so we wanted to do that in a 6-month term, right? We wanted 1 month where we had $100,000, and we did that in our first month. And
Yeah.
we're more than halfway there again in the first 12 days of this.
Yeah, I
So
remember
we're
you guys
gonna-
showing up to the group coaching call and we're like, "Hey, I'm going to keep you posted. We may be hitting the number later today." And then sure enough, you guys hit that number. So yeah, March was your first actual full calendar month, right?
Yeah.
Working with us. Because February, I think, is when you guys officially came on, but we had to build the account and get things set up and stuff like that. So yeah, talk to me a little bit more about like what did March look like for you guys? The phone obviously started ringing a lot, but like that must have been a big shift for you and just running the business. And what did that look like?
Yeah. So the first thing we had to do for people watching this, you have to be flexible the first month because
Yes.
yeah, we had to change our schedule. We had to hire people. We had to work a little bit more. We had to like not work together, which we really enjoyed doing. Because we were not prepared. We were not prepared to go from where we were to where we went in like a matter of, I want to say in one weekend, we took in 12 board and train dogs in
Yeah,
one
I
weekend.
remember you guys messaging us about that.
Yeah, we're like, oh
Yeah.
crap. And then we come in on Monday, which we don't normally work, and came in on Monday. We're like, how are we going to train all these? How are we going to train all these dogs? We need people. So
Yeah, our problems changed really quickly. It went from, okay, how are we going to, make sure that the business continues to scale and, make sure that everybody gets paid and everything goes as it's supposed to, oh my God, now we have so many dogs. How do we get all these dogs trained, in an appropriate time? Right. And we did everything from double our capacity with our facility and talk to them directly about where we're going and how we're going. And we're getting ready to sign a new 5-year agreement with them. We're
Wow.
making all kinds of changes to make it more pliable for us and useful for us at the facility so that like we're able to 100% focus on just training dogs, training new staff, all different kinds of stuff. And like Angie said, we literally had to have a conversation of, okay, do we need to start slowing down in terms of our sales, or are we just going to continue to just grow like baby Huey and do everything that we need to with lack of sleep and all of it in order to make sure it works?
Right.
And
we decided on the latter.
yeah, it's
That
great.
doesn't sound like you guys
With
at
lack
all.
of sleep. Our cleaners are about ready to show up. I'm so sorry. The dogs
That's
are
okay.
like,
But yeah, so you guys just opted into like we're just going to keep the pedal to the metal, just keep pushing forward.
Yeah, we made the decision. I don't want to get too deep into it, but Angela left a 20-year career where she was making incredible money. Like,
Right.
and I don't want to give away, her personal information, but, she had worked on that career for so long that it was a huge leap of faith for her to come over and know that we were going to be successful and build a business with Canine Revolution. And so in doing so, it was not only a huge leap of faith on her side, it was also
a little stressful for you.
very because
Yeah.
the idea of our partnership not going the way that we wanted it to. Failure is not an option for me
Mhm.
ever. But for it not going the way that we wanted it to, and to be able to continue the lifestyle that we have, it was not an option. And it was very, very stressful. And so the first couple months were a little tough, a little scary. And then all of a sudden the marketing, networking things that she was doing started to come to fruition. And
found you.
and it went from us being very nervous and stressed to us celebrating and then being very nervous and stressed.
It's like a whole new set of problems,
Yes. And immediately starting to reach out to people to hire them and doing working interviews and putting the leash in their hand and say, okay, show me what you got. Let's do this. And putting people immediately to work. And is very nice about the fact that we changed our schedules once. We didn't change our schedules
multiple
once.
times.
It was a living, breathing thing. We're like, okay, this is what needs to happen. Okay, this is when you guys are scheduled. This is when we're scheduled. This is when we're bringing somebody else in. Okay, wait a second. Now we've got this going on. Now we need to do this. So luckily our team is incredible and pliable. And they're like, yep, we're along for the ride with whatever you need. And so now we've kind of got it down to a system and
yeah, and it'll change again.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the reason we changed our schedules is so that
Mhm.
one of us was always available to answer the phone.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you say that, it means something to the clients. We closed a client yesterday because we answered the phone on a Sunday. And granted, not everybody wants to do that. We actually work Sundays physically anyways, so that's fine for us. But like we were able to meld or mesh our schedules up so that we could answer the phones because it was that important to get in front of people. And by doing that, we hit that $100,000 target. So
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's important to know that when we're handling a leash, yes, you can answer a call, but is it the same level of communication that you have when you're sitting in your office, right? And so,
Right.
when we answer calls and we're at the facility and we're in the kennels, dogs are going crazy, right? Because it's not just our dogs. It's a boarding facility, and so there are dogs there that we have zero contact with that are going nuts. So while our dogs are perfect, they still hear the barking in the background. And so it's not the type of call that we want to be able to have. So what we decided was we're each going to take days at the office and the other person's going to be at the facility. And we would switch and alter how we're doing it so that somebody always has the phone and somebody always has the opportunity to have a, you know,
focused
yeah,
conversation.
a focused, engaged, 100% engaged conversation with a client. Now,
Yeah,
our
that's
sales
really
calls
smart.
are sometimes 30, 45-minute long calls,
Yes.
where we're
Yeah.
going through everything from first contact all the way through the sales process and intake, and getting everything set up, around everything from vacations to doctor's appointments, all of it, right? So we
Right.
have to be engaged through that whole thing, which is a difficult thing when you're talking about a product that's $3,500 to more than 10,000, right?
Right.
Uh, we needed to be able to have that engagement and that the quiet and be able to have that directed conversation.
Yeah. We even changed
Yeah.
our gym schedules to make sure we answered the
Yeah.
phone just for you,
Yes.
Cam.
Honestly, but this is the exact difference between being a dog trainer and being a dog training business owner. I think a lot of people like they want to be dog trainers, and so they think that the main thing and the only thing they should be doing with their time is spending their time training dogs. And then
That's the
what you
easiest
guys
part of it.
beautifully,
That's
yeah,
the easiest part of it.
right. You start realizing the difficult part is like the people, the human beings, you know?
100%.
And yeah, I mean, if you're a dog trainer at heart, like you want to be training dogs, but as you guys perfectly articulated before, there are no dogs unless there's a sales process, And so what I always tell everybody is like, you almost need to, if you're a solo shop, right, you're doing everything yourself, you need to still just put time blocks on your calendar where like there's nothing but time to be prospecting, calling your leads and making sales, because there
And
will
we still do
always be a
that.
dog that you can do more reps with, or you can do more sessions with, or there's always going to be a kennel that needs to be cleaned or something like that. So you just need to be hyper vigilant and really use your time wisely. And you guys are clearly doing that.
Yeah. Well, so like I still protect my time. So after this, we have a time block to go over Alfred, to go over some of our automations so that we can be more efficient.
Yeah.
And that's a scheduled meeting with ourselves, right? We have time blocks to follow up on leads. I live and die by my calendar. I'll get John there someday. He kind of just, what's going on today? And I read off
Yeah.
the calendar. And so,
Once again, we make a good business owner.
Exactly.
but I always looked at my calendar, my time blocks as appointments with myself that
Mhm.
I wouldn't blow off a client. It's the same situation. It's the same
Right.
scenario. So
Yes. Yeah.
it's super important to keep them.
The one thing that I would say about having the CRM and having Alfred is use it effectively. We weren't
Mhm.
doing that at first. We didn't have all the systems set up. It was literally our pants were on fire because we went from as soon as the proper, I would say, sales ads were out there,
Mhm.
like our phones went berserk and we didn't have the time and the opportunity to properly set up Alfred for all of our stuff,
All
right?
your stuff. Yeah. Cause you guys are
So
very particular about how you
yeah,
want it
and
set up,
so
which is
we
good.
sat down one night and we're like, okay, what are the objections that we're getting? Where the ones that we're not closing, they need to talk to their spouse. Okay, let's make a tab for that.
Mm.
Specific to I need to talk to my spouse. So they get the automated as soon as we get off the phone with them, we put them in, I need to talk to my spouse. Therefore, they get the automated messages or I need to apply for credit. Okay, or I need to look at money. We have tabs for all of those, right?
Right.
So that when we find out what the hot button is, and it's not just oh my gosh, I thought this was going to be $300, which I got
Right.
that call yesterday, which was crazy. Anyway, but we have a tab to put them under, and
Yes,
it
that's the
it
big thing.
automates the whole thing.
That's where I think a lot of people go wrong with that is like the automations are great for follow-ups. They're
Right.
great for staying top of mind as somebody's making a decision.
Right.
But that initial contact, that initial call needs to be very human focused,
Exactly.
very personal. And you can't do that through automations, no matter how
100%.
well you write it. And
Right.
same thing. I know we're beta testing some AI answer people. I
Right.
don't know that I'll ever have you on our stuff, but I'm old. And but again, you can't have an automated, even AI person fill your shoes. Just like nobody cares about your business like we do,
Mhm.
right? Nobody cares about our business like we do. An AI will never understand your business and be able to pivot and explain and empathize like you can as a dog trainer.
Yeah,
So
I
I
agree.
think that
I think there's just no replacement for somebody picks up the phone and they call you guys and you just answer it right away. You know,
yeah,
I've worked with over 300 dog trainers. I've seen people come and go. I've seen people try things and get burnt out talking to people. So they try and create these really advanced automations. I know a trainer who, I've worked with for a long time and he automated everything in his business. And the final conclusion at the end of all of it, what he arrived at is I should just get on the phone with people because like he tried to be so creative and like, there's got to be a way to have technology take this over. And
Yeah.
again, when I think it comes back to it's like people like talking to a human being. And there's also a big difference between a company like Amazon or Google adopting AI. Like if you were to call Amazon and you're talking to an AI, you're like, of course, I'm calling Amazon. It's a tech company. But if you call the local plumber or your dentist and you're just looking to talk to somebody, it's like there's a big difference between like Wall Street and Main Street, you know? And so I think Main Street, it's like it's going to take longer for the local people to adopt that, if ever, and be talking to like an AI bot. They want to talk to you guys. That's why they're calling you, you know?
Well, I think that there's a huge difference between us handling a living, breathing member of their family that they sometimes are extremely, extremely codependent of and attached to, possessive of. They
Hmm.
want to know and hear in our voice that we actually care, right?
Right.
There is no robot or system out there that's going to be able to give them that same level of comfort, peace of mind, structure around kind of hearing them. And that's the biggest thing with some people is they just want to know that they're being heard. They want to
Mm.
know that their dog is going to be well taken care of. There's no system out there that's going to be able to give them that.
Yeah, exactly.
which is why
Exactly.
salespeople will never die.
Yeah. Always have a job. Well, so there's two things I want to talk about here. The first one is so you guys you hit your six figure in a month mark in March. What did you guys finish at? What did March? What was your final number? Do you guys know that off
You
the
know
top of
that
your
Yeah,
head?
it was 1025.
1025. Wow, that's incredible. Unbelievable.
it was amazing.
And yeah, and so the other thing I want to talk about with you guys too, I was gonna ask you about sales. We talked so much about sales, and we just touched on it a little bit, but I'd actually prefer to ask you guys something a little bit different, and that's what you kind of keep making me think about is the law of reciprocity. And so something that's like really cool about you guys is like you do these other things outside of the business to help other people. So like you're
Yeah.
involved in like the prison program and stuff like that, or giving back to your church and helping people. And I think so many times as just business owners, we can get so focused on like only doing revenue generating activities and you kind of like miss the forest for the trees in a sense. And so do you guys mind talking about that and just kind of like how that's like manifested in your lives to be like helpful for you guys and like what the fruits of that and like what you guys have seen from like giving back to other people?
Well, do you want to talk about the prison program first, and then I can talk about some of the other stuff?
I am a big, big believer in energy. When you put positive energy out, you get positive energy back. We really go out of our way to assist our community in a number of different ways. Like we have a family that lives right around the corner from us. They reached out through our local kind of networking community thing, and she said, "Hey, we find ourselves with three brand new puppies, not really puppies, but like adolescents who are all fighting, and we don't have the means necessarily to send all three through a program. We're just looking for help." We've gone over to them a couple of times and worked with them, and we'll continue to do so at no charge.
Mhm.
just to try to help them understand not only how their dogs see the world, but also as a canine behaviorist, but then also as a trainer, these are the skills that you need. This is, how to handle the leash. This is how to keep them, in line in certain times and spaces when they're acting out. And it's all about whatever you put out, you're gonna get back. Right. And so if you're focused on the bottom line and that's where your stress is, that's where you're gonna stay.
Mhm.
You're gonna stay stressed and you're gonna stay focused on the bottom line, and that bottom line is not gonna change. It may change in terms of the value of that number, but it's never going to get to a point where you're like, okay, I can take a deep breath. Now I can, do all of the other things that I've let go because I've always been focused on that one thing. You're not going to get past that if you
Mhm.
focus on helping people and you focus on helping your community and you focus on giving of the gifts. What we do is a gift. We have the
Mhm.
coolest job on the planet, right? If we focus on that gift and we give freely of that gift, man, it's like the world is our oyster.
Yeah.
So we don't do the program like you subscribe, like teach it to other people. We've talked about this
Yeah.
because we have a different background, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
are stronger on the phone than most people because we've got so much experience.
Yeah.
So we actually use our consults as kind of free training sessions.
Yeah.
We and that's what they are. So people will come into our facility or we'll go if they're kind of in our little bubble, we'll go to them. And people will just come in and like, hey, you know what, my dog is doing this one thing that's annoying. Cool. We'll tell you the reason why and here's a couple skills and we're here if you want to like get to perfection and to learn all the skills, but we just give them an hour session, what their dog's thinking, why their environment's set up wrong, because it's generally that, and then a couple skills to leave home with and make life a little bit more manageable.
Yeah.
And really any time that we do that just by giving that free consult, and I hate using that word because I don't want to confuse people of what the consult means for you guys, right? We're not selling
Yeah.
them anything. We know they're not a qualified client. We're just giving them a free training session, but they will tell their friends.
Exactly.
They will pass on that like, hey, these people care. You can't convey that in a Google ad. You can't convey that in any ways except with human interaction that we care. And I really
Wow.
enjoy our free sessions that we give out because there is no pressure. We get to like have some fun with some new people and then they go about their way. And you know what?
Yeah.
Someday maybe they'll come back. Um
Yeah.
And there's Kevin, before we move on, there's a couple things that I would really like to hit on is because we have a living, breathing member of their family, we create relationships with our clients that other businesses don't.
for the
Right.
hairdressers.
Well, yeah, we
Well, some
were
of us.
we were so right, exactly. I have found over the years that we get clients that call us in tears of despair and sadness, and they're at the end of their rope. And by the end of our program, they have tears of joy and excitement and hope because they get to keep their dog, or their behaviors have changed so drastically, right? We also find ourselves in positions when we have people's dogs where life happens around us. We've had clients where they've lost their spouses or they've lost their parents, or they need to go attend life events, whatever it is. Whenever that happens, we happily continue to keep the dog at no charge, right? We've done it a number of times. And through that creating of that relationship, we have had some of the most incredible relationships come out of that. And those people will go to the ends of the earth to promote our business
Right.
because we found them in a position of absolute need and despair when they're like, I know my dog is with you, but we're out of town and I don't know how long we're going to be here because my husband's father is in hospice. I just need to support my family. Do I need to get my dog, somebody to come pick up my dog? Absolutely not.
Right.
Let us go ahead and take care of your dog. Please focus on your family. We've got it. Right.
Yeah.
Don't worry about paying us anything for that. You've already paid for the program. Please go focus on your family.
Man, that's
And you
beautiful.
wouldn't believe some of the stuff that these folks do for our program. And it's not, we don't do it because we expect anything of them, but because of those relationships and because we give freely of the gift that we have, that's what they do in reciprocity. Excuse me,
Right.
reciprocity.
Yeah.
I can't stress enough, and I've been in the financial sector. I've been in the oil business. I've done 1,000 different things on the sales side. I've even sold fish when I was a kid. If you are focused on the bottom line and you're focused on what's going in your pocket, you're never going to grow out of that.
Yeah.
Focus on helping your community and giving freely of the gift that you have, and really, really good things, amazing things are gonna happen.
Yeah, that dude, that is so cool. Everything you just said. And just to tie that all together, Angie, something you said before, it's like you can't show all of this in a Google ad, right? You can't like really make people feel and experience how much you guys care and the difference between working with you and versus the other trainer. It's like the way that that's shown is by getting on the call, empathizing with people, meeting with them, and just like treating them different. And I think that there's a big difference between saying that you care about your clients versus actually like doing it. And I've experienced that over the years myself where people fall on hard times and they like come to me or they're ignoring my messages because they can't pay me or something like that. And I just call them up out of the blue and they're like, "Hey, I've been meaning to get back to you. All this really horrible stuff has happened. I don't know if I can continue with you." It's like, dude, don't worry about it. Let's just get you back on track. Because at the end of the day, that's somebody who's going to go out and like want to sing the good praises about your business, not
Yeah.
somebody who like they abandoned me in my darkest hour. And I think, John, to what you were saying before, it's so true. Like people can feel that. Like when you're just trying to make a sale and it's like, yeah, 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 but it's $4,000. Do you want to pay or no?
Yeah,
People can sniff that out and feel that immediately. And so it all comes back to making them feel like they're at home. They're making the right decision with you guys, and it's all, it's just like the warm and fuzzy feeling that you guys give to people.
it's another really fun thing that Angie and I have found is we've had friendsgiving with clients. I've jumped out of planes with clients. We've gone on motorcycle
Wow.
rides.
That's
I've
awesome.
raced track cars with clients.
Hmm.
We create those relationships that it's not just around the dogs.
Yeah.
We have very unique personalities, and when we really vibe with somebody, we take it outside of the facility.
Yeah.
And it's a really cool thing to have the dogs be the catalyst of our relationships. Yeah, it's the dog business is absolutely incredible. It
That's
is
awesome.
it has become something that I could have never, ever, ever dreamed about when I knew that I wanted to be a professional dog trainer.
Yeah.
This it's
So cool. So unbelievably cool. Yeah. And I love going back to just what you were started out saying in the beginning here, where it's like you were just, happy go lucky in the beginning, charging $700. Like, I can't believe I got to train dogs.
yeah,
Whenever I start talking to someone who's like a young dog trainer and they're talking about all the money they can make and stuff like that, I'm like, dude, you're done already. Because like if you don't actually enjoy what you are doing and having the dogs in your care, you might be able to do it for 1 month, but good luck. Like, it's a big difference between having one good month and having a good year versus having 10 good years? And so
right,
like you got to really love what you do.
Well,
yeah,
I mean, so again, out of construction, like no one has ever cried because I delivered their project on time. No one has ever been grateful because something like happened the way I said it was going to be happen, like
Yeah.
said it was going to happen. Never had the gratitude when we, bend over backwards for a client in B2B corporate America. Like you're just a number. It's very easy to be replaced.
Yeah.
With this, like we get hugs. It's funny. We have one trainer who really, really doesn't like to be hugged. She got hugged the other day.
Too
Um,
bad.
too bad. We get hugs, we get cards and true gratitude. Like it's so fulfilling and it's so rewarding compared to any industry I've ever worked in before. You don't get that love cup filled in construction, but I can tell you that much. So
No, same thing here. I mean, like you guys are a perfect example of that. Showing up to the group coaching calls just to kind of say like, "Hey, thank you so much," and here's what we got going on. It's like that. In all seriousness, like that's the stuff that keeps you going in business.
yeah,
I'm going to try and really, really hard here not to sound like self-serving or like conceited or anything like that, but you get to a point in business where like you have clients, you're making money and stuff like that. And you've already kind of checked that box of like, okay, I can afford to pay my bills now? And so the thing for me that keeps me going is like, you meet people and they have these other goals and ambitions in their business and you get to be a part of that. It's like, that's way more fulfilling than like, cool, I just made another sale, moving on?
yeah. Well, and for us, we save because John's specialty is ultra aggressive bite your face off dogs, and so we save quite a few a year that our last opportunity in the system on the bite protocol, that some of them have to be quarantined for a little while with us before they're allowed to like actually be handled. And
Right.
to take a dog that can't be handled to being able to walk perfectly on lead out in the world with
Hmm.
like a big goofy smile. We have one in program back for off lead training who had never experienced the world for 11 months, afraid of everything, and that came out as aggression. And now, man, that dog is like excited to get out of the kennel and like go play with me and hang out and learn new skills. And um yeah, and we're talking like 115 pound,
She's
130
a big girl,
pound
yeah.
girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's not a baby, so she's a little scary first time. But yeah, to be able to see that transformation and to know that that dog is going to have a totally different life, and that human is going to have a totally different life because they now have a dog that they can take with them. And it's really that's what gets you out of bed.
That's
Well,
awesome.
that and
Yeah.
puppies get me out of bed a lot.
In the middle of the night.
That we've
Yeah.
we've actually been really fortunate that the puppies have actually been really good. We have a wing of the house that's now the puppy castle. So
Oh, nice. And then
We
once you guys
rearranged
get
our
your
whole
baby
house.
monitors, you're gonna be
yes,
locked and loaded and just like set
so
up.
they sleep through the night currently, so that's a good thing.
Good, good, good.
Um, but yeah, it's really cool to see people reach out to us from all over the country, and they're in despair. Their lives are in ruin. The dog has created chaos in relationships, destroyed their houses, destroyed their cars, and we're able to, in a short period of time, teach the dog the manners that are required to regain relationships and have them rebuild their lives and around a very well mannered, well trained dog.
Yeah.
And so it's really it's cool.
That's awesome. Very cool. Well, I don't want to keep you guys all day because we've been recording for about an hour now. So I always like to just wrap up with this last thing. So you guys have obviously made massive leaps and bounds in your business, just even the first like 30 days, 45 days of working together. You did your first six-figure month in the first real 30 days of working together. If you put yourself back in the shoes that you were in back in February, where you were kind of like trying to figure out your client acquisition system, how are we going to consistently generate leads, grow the business and stuff like that? If there's somebody who's in that same exact situation now as you were in then, what is the advice that you guys would give to that person?
I think that we have two different views of that. I think I'll let Angela go first, then I'll let you mind.
So I was in that at 10 o'clock as I was trying to find a different lead source. And I told you, like, hey, Kevin, I'm gonna give you like 3 months because that's what I can afford to give you before
Right.
I gotta find a corporate job. And at that point, like this is back on John. And yeah, in my wildest dreams, I never thought that your team would perform the way that it has performed and been available and helpful. And we keep saying you, but honestly, like I think this is like the
Yeah.
second time I've seen you. So no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Uh, we see you on a group
No,
coaching
but there's a
call.
lot of people that make this work. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not just you, and that's one of
Yeah.
the reasons I actually interviewed 3 different Google ad people, and
Yeah.
you weren't the cheapest, but you also weren't you were willing to put your money where your mouth was. You were willing to have an entire team behind you to support us. I really, really loved the whole idea of having an entire group of dog trainers, right? Like you don't step outside that niche, and it's really awesome. Like we've hooked up with a couple other trainers in your network
Yeah.
and learned some things and implemented some things and are working on some things based on what they do
Yeah.
because there's enough business to go around and they're not right in our backyard. So, it was all very important, but really like I had to bet on us and I had to bet on you in my head to make this work. And it was worth the bet. It was absolutely worth it. You were very clear about what you could provide and what you couldn't. Meaning like you could get us in front of people, but I had to answer the phone. And so
Yeah.
you were very, very clear, and I really appreciated that. You didn't blow smoke. You didn't promise the world. You sure as heck didn't promise these results.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that
I
was
just
a
want to be
mix.
clear, these are not normal results, okay? Like,
Yeah,
I can't
exactly.
that's a important caveat. Not everyone's gonna make 100 grand in their first 30 days, but
Right. And
yeah.
so like you didn't promise that to us. You were modest in what this process would look like. So you under promised and over delivered, which I appreciated compared
Yeah.
to the other people I talked to were like, "Oh, yeah, we can, promise you the moon and the stars and, a galaxy that you've never seen before." That's not what you did. and you had a network of people that had also previously trusted you, and that made me feel really good. So if you're seeing this at 3 o'clock in the morning because you are worried about the finances, like I was, like, this is worth an investment, and it is an investment in time and money. But if you do what they say, it works, and I really appreciate that.
Thanks, Angie. I
So
appreciate you saying that.
my on my end, with this amount of stress that I was already under and being so fragmented from not only training, managing, wearing all the different hats, trying to find new marketing avenues, all of it, and trying to harness a relationship. If it was going to be complicated, if it was going to be if, if if it was going to take significant amount of time away from what I was already doing, I wasn't interested, right?
Mhm.
But I also knew that I needed to be more organized. We needed to be more organized in what we were doing. Now, when we first started, the first few days, yes, there were things that we needed to sit down to and talk about and discuss how to best set up, put those in place, and really start to use them. I also had to recognize that I like to reinvent the wheel, right? I like to try to find the best way to be able to make it work for us, right? And we actually had to have a discussion of, we're going to let this work. We're going to set it up how it needs to be set up. We're going to listen to you guys. We're going to really heed your advice and let these things play out and see how they go. And if we need to make changes down the road, we'll do that. But we need to have marked,
Like somewhere to like a starting
yeah,
point of what
exactly.
was going to
We
work.
Right.
need to see, we need to give it enough time to see how it's going to work. So once you guys produce the ads for us, and we then put them in a position for what it really meant for us and how we wanted to be portrayed as dog trainers, you guys listened. Like I said, you guys put it into motion. You immediately heard us. And that meant the world to us. We're like, okay, this dude, like, they're on it, right?
Yeah.
Like, you didn't tell us, even though we told you we didn't want to reinvent the wheel, you didn't tell us, hey, just let this go, let us play on.
Mhm.
You heard us, you made the changes, and almost from the moment that you guys published those new ads, boom, it went. And it's the type of thing that when we started to see it going, we got more and more and more and more and more excited about actually using the system appropriately, correctly, setting up the trees for the the way that Alfred responds back to all the different things, and make it us. And obviously, when you do that and you take that time, which it wasn't a whole lot of time in the grand scheme of things, it was not a huge investment in time. It was,
And your team helped a lot. Like
yes,
your
and they were,
wife,
you guys were.
Rose,
Angel
amazing.
Rose. Yeah.
It's not like we're totally reinventing this whole thing. You guys have a system in place. You gave us the tools. You gave us the templates. Boom, we made it ours, and now we're off and running, and we're letting it do what it does. Now we do have calls with you guys every once in a while about how to best be able to manipulate the things that are in place to make it better, and it's going to continue to get better and better and better. Yeah, I couldn't have imagined. I would have been okay if we had done a quarter of what we did,
Right.
right? It would have supplemented our business. It would have been another avenue in which we get leads, being out in front of more people. But for us to go the way that we did and do more than 30 times ROI first month, and it's only going to get better. uh, Yeah, I couldn't, any business out there, not just dog trainers, but yeah, I cannot commend you guys enough, and I will tell anybody out there that they need to trust you and employ you guys for what they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys both saying that. Yeah, because it really is a collaborative effort. It's like we take the feedback from you guys. Hey, we like this about the landing page. We don't like this. Please change this. And at the same time, it's like we have had people who have come in and they're like, we want Top Dog Advertising to take over our marketing because they see the results like from videos like this, where people are getting these amazing results. And then once they come in, they then want to do it their way. They're like, we don't want the ads to say this. We only want it to say this. We don't want to have this on the, and it's like, well, there needs to be a team effort here because, you're hiring us for a reason and we know what works. So I just thought that was really cool about you guys. You know, you were not afraid to voice your opinion and let us know, like, hey, we think this is going to be a better fit for us. But at the same time, you guys did follow us and trust the process, so to speak.
Which is hard for two type A, like
I
very
get it. I'm the
dominant
same way.
personalities, man. That took some restraint and some backside
Yeah.
conversations that you were not a part of to like get there. So
And then
Yeah,
another
totally.
aspect of that is you guys heard us when we told you not only about our business, but also our sales technique too.
Hmm.
Because when we log into your sales calls, you know, you're talking to your people that don't have the background that we do
Right.
to get the people in front of them in order to sell them, right? We're a one call close.
Yep.
We may spend 30 or 45 minutes on the phone with people and close them in that period of time and already have them intake the vet um, records, you know, processes in place in order for drop off, paid, all of it, all at the same time. And that's what we have shown to be what's most productive for us.
Yeah.
you did try it your way though.
We did.
You
We
did
did
try
try to
it.
get people to come in and
I
do a
appreciate that.
consult
Yeah.
and go through that whole process. It
Your
by
way works for you guys.
adding an additional step to one that we already had a really solid plan in place, and you guys
Exactly.
heard us and you guys allowed us the freedom to be able to do what we do, but also you guys put things in motion on your end for us to be able to effectively do that.
Right. Exactly.
And so it's you guys weren't rigid, just as we weren't rigid, and it's the partnership has worked out amazingly well. So
Totally agree. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys have other things you want to get onto today as well, but I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you to both of you guys because you make our jobs very easy. You're awesome clients, super supportive on the group coaching calls, helping other people and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I mean, this is only really like the first month that we're talking about here working together. So we'll have to do another check in a couple of months, see where you guys are at. And
Yeah.
I know once we get that Corvette, you know, then we can do another
Yeah,
check in.
we'll have it in the background when we do the
Yeah,
next one.
exactly. Well, come
Yeah,
pick me off
you're like, look,
when you
we
get
we
it. But
continue to do it. You guys are awesome, and we got our dream cars.
yeah. All right. I appreciate you guys. Hang on the line, but I'm going to wrap up here. But if anyone's listening and you guys are needing some help with your marketing, always make sure to reach out to our team. You can go to topdogadvertising.com, book a call, and we will help you guys get anything sorted out. Talk to you guys soon.